Dive it in.
Yo, what's up, Fantom fam? We do apologize for being late today. We've had a lot of technical issues. I don't think Rand is going to be able to be joining the show today. But guys, we have very big critical levels. We have massive news happening today on interest rates. And, will a positive interest rate above the previous one, will it affect the market quite, will the stock markets take quite a bit of a hit? We do have a sort of feeling that it's already been acted, it's already been priced in. But there is critical levels, and I've started now going a bit more shorter time frame on the market because stock market did break trend to the upward side, and we have Bitcoin that's looking to break a shorter time frame trend as well. And I'm thinking it's at that time where a lot of the alts retraced back to the previous lows that they made. And I think it's time for us now to be catching these actual alts, guys. So in this show, I'm going to be going through critical levels quick. I got something amazing to show you on RS flips on Ethereum as well. And you do not want to fall asleep at these times, as the big candles always come as soon as you lose interest. I think it's time. Let's get into the show.
What's up? Here comes our super sniper Sheldon. What's up? We love our crypto sniper Sheldon. Super sniper Sheldon. Crypto sniper Sheldon. This is our Sheldon. Oh, this is our Sheldon. Smash those likes. Yes.
Yo. Before we get back into the charts, guys, it is going to be a quicker show today, but we do always want to get this information as big moves like to happen on the actual weekend. So guys, if you are brand new, first thing you do, you hit that like, you hit that subscribe button, and you join the best community out there. Why? Because we just went through a massive dump in the last week, and we're still here every day. We went through a massive dump in May, and we're still here every day. And all the guys that started with us at the beginning of this year and went through that first dump with us, there were many people that did buy the top. You know where those people are sitting today? They're sitting a lot more calm. They've actually made their money back, and they actually have learned so much now that they're able to get through these cycles and understand that this is the time where you need to be reshuffling your portfolio. You need to be staying dedicated, because this is when the big guys are buying. As we've seen, they are flushing out the retail and getting you out of the actual market. So join the best community out there. Show a lot of love. As we are there every single day. I think let's jump straight into the charts here. Let's get going and see what is actually happening right now and what can we expect over the weekend. So I am seeing a short-term break coming from Bitcoin right now, and it's quite interesting. We've been waiting in this range since we've had this big drop-off, and it's really good that we're starting to range, guys. It's something that you always need to be aware of, that when a big move happens in the market, it is good when we start to slow down after that, because when we finally start to go after that, it starts to calm the nerves in the market. They're all waiting to see, is there more bad news coming out, and they basically, the sad thing is what actually happens is this is where they run it sideways. They make you think it's all over. They get you interested in the actual market, and this is when they're able to minimize that volume. Can you see how much volume we had when we had the big move on the downward side? Do you see how much little volume we are currently getting now? Which means when there's less volume, they're able to shift the market a lot easier off of a market order, and they end up buying coins from you. So now that we're finally ranging, I'm tracking this and I'm starting to see, okay, where we're ranging. And I love that we had this little pullback recently, the last day or two, because we needed to finally come back to these lows. Now, the first thing that's quite interesting is when we get to these lows, obviously we had a very extended candle that took us down to around 42. But when we came back up and we came to test, you see green volume bars. It was bought up. We then come back down to these zones over here. And as we start trending, you see green volume bars. Same over here, you see green volume bars. And you can see that every time we get into these zones, we are getting a nice little push of volume, green volume bars, which means they're not buying up here. Every time it comes down to a certain level, they buy. It comes down, they buy. It comes down again, they end up buying. So bigger guys are adding to their portfolios here, and we definitely know that it's not retail at this point. So this break of this little flag here, we are actually ranging very much in a sideways sort of range. And let me show you this here quickly. And we were basically expecting, and it still could be possibly a few more days, or we can actually break it over this weekend. And if we have a look, we're actually ranging in this horizontal channel at this point. And it's actually quite understanding that we can come and test 46 at some point. We can go up to 51, 52. We can then come back down to these zones. Guys, this is accumulation phase. We are now prepping for another move in the actual market. So this little break of this wedge that we are doing here can easily take us back to the 51, 52K region. Now, what is quite interesting is I saw yesterday that we finally got a dominance bounce. Now, if we have a look quickly, dominance-wise, dominance had a decent little bounce, and it looks like right now it's slowly in favor of Bitcoin at this point, which means when we had the secondary pullback yesterday, we had the alts that started pulling back quite a bit more. And it's quite interesting to see how the alts managed, and let me show ETH as an example. ETH managed to pull straight back. It really bounced off strong, but it's coming straight back to these zones, and same thing, it is getting bought up. Now, what I'm seeing here, guys, is when Bitcoin now ranges and we have this little breakout out of this wedge now, I can see it make its way to 51, 52, which means I want to be stocking up a little bit in the zone over here, definitely. And then I'm waiting for the key level of this breakout over here. Now, why is this level important for us to break out? Because of this resistance over here. Remember when we are trailing down, we start moving, and when we trail down, we're always turning these levels, which were previous supports, into resistances. That's when we know we are continuing on a downwards trend. When we keep breaking a level, we test it as, turn it into resistance, we then continue down, and you can see how we keep turning these levels. That's when you know you are clearly trending to the actual downward side. Now, what breaks that is when we finally have something like this break into that channel again and then start reversing. And that's where you usually get your inverse head and shoulders, or you get the reversal patterns to play out. So we know very clearly that this is a very critical line that we want Bitcoin to break, because by breaking that line can show us that finally we're turning this little range, delete here, turning this little range from resistance into support, and we can finally get back up to the key levels that we actually want. But remember, because we have these little breakthroughs on a downward sort of trend, and we keep turning, if we're trending down, we're breaking support, we're turning it into resistance, we're then continuing down, we know we should be always looking at buying at the bottom of these levels, because at any point, if we do show a little bit of weakness and we break through, we're always going to come back and test, and then we can say, okay, guys, Bitcoin has now come and tested 47, 46 is support right now. Now we're breaking those levels. Now we should maybe possibly look at freeing up a little bit of cash, because Bitcoin can go back down to the 41K, anywhere in that sort of region. But we have not broken that just yet. So I want to be adding little bits to my bags now, because if we do break through and we do have a RS flip, we ended up catching beautifully in the accumulation zone. And we started being smart and start fishing and start buying up when retail is not interested in the actual market. So that's short time frame. Now, jumping quickly to Bitcoin on the higher time frame. Guys, we are still in my major buy zone. We are still at the region of the 0618, the golden zone. And what I love, and we've seen it now the last week or two, we cannot deny that these trends give us a good time sort of thing on when a big move is coming. So it's very easy for Bitcoin to easily accumulate in this range towards trend. And then we can start getting the bigger moves that can actually start the reversal of that. Now, what I'm looking at, and I want to show you this quickly on the weekly. I'm going to way higher time frames now, because the shorter time frames are great, but they do get quite annoying. The market's just not getting where it needs to get. And I want to show you something on ETH and where ETH has come and where we can actually see where ETH is right now, because I'm still looking at ETH as one of the big, it's one of those that all our eyes on ETH right now, and it's holding this market quite strong at this point. Now, if we have a look at the range of 2020, around July last year, when ETH was sitting around $200, $300. Watch what happened on how we passed these levels, as I just spoke, support and resistance. We were sitting in accumulation range. We finally broke out and got a higher high. What it does then is it breaks through, it tests the next resistance, and then comes down and tests it as support, and then we continue. And if you have a look over here, it broke through, it came, it tested. What does it do then? We've now tested support. We had our RS flip. Now we look for price to continue. It then breaks through the next one. You see how it breaks it, how it tests it. Have a look. It breaks through, comes down, tests that support over there. Now look at this interesting point over here. Now, when ETH finally broke all-time high, so we started ranging, right? We had a little bit of fighting around that resistance, but when it broke through, it started smashing through here and it went all the way to $2,000. But do you see that there was no more supports? And when there's no more supports, this is going to teach you not to chase the FOMO pump, because you're always going to wait for a support test. Guys, 9 out of 10 times when we break a resistance, we come and test it as support. So when this broke through at this zone over here and we started ranging up, it would have taught you, wait, ETH is sitting at $1,900 now, but my nearest support is sitting at $1,300. I can't buy now. I need to wait. I need to rather be buying on my actual support. And as you can see, look what happened after that. We ranged all the way back down. We tested that, and then have a look. Do you see what happened there? Now, same thing happened. Now look at there. Now what happened was we came down, we tested. We now have a new high in place. So that is a resistance. Look how we break through. Now this is the same thing now. Now I'm sitting at 1,900. We start breaking through. All of a sudden, ETH starts ranging. Look what it did. It went absolutely insane. But do you see any support here? No support. So when I'm looking now to say we broke resistance at around $1,900. Now we shot and we're sitting at $4,000 now. My nearest support's at $1,900. I can't be buying ETH right now at $4,000. And look what happens. Boom. Do you see that? Do you see how it came perfectly down and tested support in those zones? And now that high that we made at 4K becomes the next resistance that we want to turn into support. Look at this after this. We then broke through. We tested the zone again, tested. Great. Have a look. Boom. We finally break through it. So you see how this was a really key level. Now, this was the recent high that we made for ETH. This was the recent all-time high, 4,868. Now look where we actually are. This is previous support, right? This was the previous high as I just showed. This is where we're sitting right now, guys. So ETH is still trending to the beautiful structure that we have moved for the last year and a half for ETH. And now we're sitting at a level where we've broken through the previous high. And what are we doing? We're doing something very similar to what we did in this region over here, right? And it's just showing us now where we're at the zone with ETH, that from this zone over here, we're looking at a nice strong push. So even though it does take some time here at some points, you know, it's showing us how strong ETH is looking. And if I go back to this on Bitcoin, it's the exact same actual thing. Now, we look at that, you know, to where we are now, and what's affecting is the stock market. Now, I want to jump through to the stock market, and I want to show you this quickly on where we're looking. You know, shorter time frame, because now we've got the big news, right, Fred? And worst scenario is we go over, what is it? 5.3% was the last interest rates. 5.3 in that sort of region. So anything above that can be quite negative. The only thing is, I think the damage was done in this region over here. I think the damage was all done in this sort of time. I do think it's already acted in the price. I do think it's priced in. And worst scenario, I see stock market coming down and testing this beautiful trend that we have broken out. So what we're getting at is worst scenario at this thing. But I don't see that on the chart right now. Right now, I see the chart looking to break another short-term trend. I see it looking up. So the reason why I'm saying this is I don't want to end up missing the move because I was waiting for these specials too much. It just then confirms again that we want to be laddering in on these zones, because on a big move anytime this weekend, we can come and have a big actual move. Now, what I'm going to do here quickly, guys, is I am going to go through these coins quick and just confirm where we actually are. And even if I jump to weekly, you'll see where we are buying these coins. Like Kusama is still on golden ratio zone. It's testing here. You know, they're on fire right now. Kusama and Polkadot, I think they're really going to have a good start of Q4. And I'm actually glad we have finally broken the normal cycle that we were in. Now, Kusama, I don't want to miss this, guys. We are sitting very far from the highs. I want to be laddering in on these zones. One that's obviously mooned and we're going to be a bit more patient with is Luna. I do think Luna will come back to around $60 and I'll be adding a bit more in there. But now we look at one like AVAX. Guys, AVAX is on golden zone right now. It's on trend right now. And all that it's showing is there's a trend line there. And yes, it can be another few more days that we take a bit more time. But I still see the breakout coming anytime next week and coming quick. So I want to be laddering up here because what happens if stock market does break the trend to the upward side and Bitcoin does break that 51K region? We're then going to start getting a big shift because there has not been a lot of volume backing this downwards move from the beginning. So AVAX is one I definitely want to be looking at. Look at DOT on golden ratio right now, on support right now. Remember what I was showing you with ETH. Breaking layers, testing support. Breaking layers, testing support. DOT's looking great. Render's absolutely cheap right now. You know, it's come down even a little bit lower. And what I've done is when you do a Fibonacci retracement from the bottom to the top, you know, between the 0618 and the 0786 is always the golden zone. And Render is now entering that. So Render is now starting to form this downwards trend, right? And you can see it very clearly how it's drawing, how it's basically forming this trend. It's still telling me another few days or so, but the breakout is looking towards the next week sort of zone. So I want to be adding and dropping up on Render. I think it's very cheap. It's sitting about 60% cheaper than where it was a week ago. So I think that's looking really good. You know, looking at Fantom again, let's jump to the weekly. Do you see how we've tested the same way I said with ETH breaking those levels? There's support, guys. We broke through, we're testing support. Even if sometimes it takes time here, you're buying in the right zone, you're accumulating in the right zones. Have a look at Cardano as well. Now, Cardano, we're sitting at golden ratio. This is looking really, really good. Look at Link. Link is sitting beautifully on trend. I think it's heavy underpriced Link. I still think Link, you know, when it really gets moving, it really gets moving. I don't want to miss out on the Link move. Rune as well. Have a look there. Super had a nice little pump when it got the listing, and now it's straight back to support on the trend. I don't want to be missing out on Super. What's interesting with MATIC is MATIC's back. It broke out. Look how it's come and test. This is where you add in more of your MATIC bags. You ladder in your dollar cost today, tomorrow. You just dollar cost. You're dollar costing at the right zone and where you're looking at. Look again at Theta. This is beautiful. I'm dollar costing at the zone. Look at VET. Guys, I don't care what the dominance has been telling us. The alts got wrecked and they're really cheap right now. And the fact that we have Bitcoin ranging and it's ranging at these specific levels and we have ETH to the ETH BTC, the ETH dominance, everything showing like, this market is looking, you know, it's looking ready for the bulls to now attempt again. You know, look at XTZ, straight back to our buy zone. Remember we said it had a 50% pump. Don't buy the pump. Wait for the pullback. This is where you want to be loading up. Look at Zill. Zill, same thing. This is beautiful for me. I want to be adding up here. Remember, nothing goes in a straight line. There we went, red. Look how the bulls reply. There's not a lot of volume backing these moves. Do you see the volume differences? Look when the bulls fight. Look at the volume increase. That's why we get the much bigger moves to the upward side. Look when the bears are fighting, because there's not a lot of volume. It's not getting back, which means it can be replaced very quickly by a simple green candle. They can buy this up and we can get a really strong move. Next again, Moonriver. We spoke about Moonriver. It's sitting beautifully at our imbalance zone. Our imbalance is exactly at 177. You know, we're ranging in a really good area. Fundamentals are very powerful here. So this one looks really good to be adding. And Kilt again. Kilt's very short time frame. Just jump on here. But what it's actually doing is this is ranging now in that sideways channel that I was speaking about, where we range in the sideways move over here. Let's just get this out here. And you can see how we are ranging, not a lot backing out. So this for me, let's just drop that, is accumulation zone for Kilt. And I want to be adding that in as well. So guys, quicker show today, but I wanted to just get you guys ready for any big movements that can happen. It's a boring market. We know it's boring right now. Just make sure you're restructuring your bags and you make sure you're shifting out of the shit coins and you're getting out of either, all the ones I've mentioned now are good fundamental coins, and just be patient with it. And we're finally going to get the rise again. If you don't believe me, ask the community that were with us through the first dump this year, which was way bigger than the one we just went through now. And you can see how quickly we can actually recover from these things. So guys, have a great, fantastic weekend. We do apologize for the delay again. Do not miss the big move. And if anything big does happen, I will be doing a live show for you guys. I'm going to go back to shooting masterclass. We've got some great education launching in the next 2 weeks. Much love. I love you lots. And I'll see you all on Monday.